I've been a DJ for nearly 20 years. I've worked at least 1,200 events, over 10,000 hours. I've been broke, and I've also made over 6 figures. And I can tell you that the business isn't for everybody.
I would not have wanted anybody else.
It was great.
Guys, another wedding in the books.
Yes.
These two rocked out. Congratulations to the new.
This guy rocked out. This guy rocked out.
But if you're really trying to be a DJ, I genuinely believe there are a few things that you need to know, because knowing the truth about all of it can make all the difference in the world. And what I'm going to be talking about today is a full reflection of my career and its ongoing struggles, while giving you some stories that helped shape my career and given me my so-called success. So be prepared, because every lesson leads to the next one. And hopefully my pain won't go in vain and you can learn a thing or two. I hope you're ready. So let's begin. The most important lesson that I have ever learned in this business is best known beats best every time. In 2019, I attended the 10X Growth Conference hosted by Grant Cardone, and the conference was filled with high status speakers that reflected on business and achieving high status goals. But the biggest takeaway I had from that entire conference was a phrase that resonates with me almost every single day I think about business, and that is best known beats best every time. Now, obviously, this is relevant to marketing and branding, but it also holds some serious weight to what we do as well. DJs tend to have an overinflated ego. I was and still am guilty of this trait, because I look at the bodies of work held by other DJs and I think to myself, I'm like, well, man, I'm better than he or she is. Like, I should be doing that, or they're not even that good. Like, what's the big deal? When in fact, the only difference between me and them is they are reaching out or know more people than I currently do. They network to a large extent, which in turn gets them more work. It then hit me, I'm like, I'm doing this while they're performing and I'm watching. And I remember this first happening when I was working my first ever DJ event company when I was about 15 to 18 years old. And I would watch nearby competitors do event showcases and have teenage girls want them at their Sweet 16s and their parties instead of me. And the reality was that company was just showcasing their business more than the business I was working for did. And it happened again when I worked for my third company, when I realized a local competitor was documenting their events and using that to help sell their services to a larger online audience. When I tell you it was frustrating, that's not even the right word, okay? Primarily because the company I was working for at the time had also offered photography and videography services for weddings. And that annoyed me, because this company that didn't offer those services was doing better at documenting their work than we were. I felt as if we were missing or overlooking a major trend that could have built a foundation that could set us apart from any other local businesses. Turns out, I was right. The company I was referring to that I was watching was SCE Event Group, owned by Jason Janak. I personally remember watching Jason around the 2013 to 2015, 2016 era, and having all of these really cool events that I wanted to be a part of myself, and I couldn't help but just feel jealous. Now today, Jason is one of the most sought out DJ business owners in the United States. He understood that being best known was going to be the best option for him to give him the ability to throw bigger, better, and more profitable events. Now understand, this doesn't just go for private event companies. You see, as a DJ, you are a business, and we tend to forget that when we provide a service for money. You are acting as a business. And if no one knows who you are, you'll have no business. Like, it's just that simple. If nobody knows that you're the DJ they should call, you're not gonna be in business for very long. Now, in comparison, you could look at major companies like McDonald's, who do not have the best product. They don't have the best burgers, they don't have the best fries. Some would probably argue they don't even have the best anything, but they are seen on every single street corner, on every single major highway in the United States. And they also have some of the best branding and marketing for fast food. So when you think of fast food, you think of McDonald's, therefore creating a demand for it. So being the best does not mean you have the best skill set. It means you're best known. Lesson number 2, don't niche down because you are your niche. I've recently been reminded of this lesson by Dan Coe. I got to watch one of his videos and he made this statement is don't niche down because you are your own niche. And every time I make the mistake of not learning from this lesson, I set myself back years. Because being hyper-focused on the type of events you want to do starts with understanding who you are, what you like, and how you want to perform as a DJ. One of the biggest lessons I learned came with the pain of chasing money. Unfortunately, when you're a full-time DJ, you're constantly looking for a paycheck. And sometimes you could tell yourself that working for a very specific type of clientele can guarantee you that consistent paycheck. And that can also come with a bigger consequence. See, people believe you have to do certain things to make money as a DJ, when the reality is you are your own niche. Because if you look up the population in the city or state that you live in, like the township that you live in, you will come to find that there are more than likely hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that live in that same area. Do not be naive to believe that you are a unicorn. You are not the only person who has similar ideas, qualities, interests, musical tastes. This means that your clientele are just like you. One of the most important factors are your taste in music, right? Because as a DJ, you want to find people who have the same taste of music as you do, or at least in the same realm. If you put yourself in a position where you are going to provide music for people who are not like-minded or come from different backgrounds, or you put yourself in an area where you're unfamiliar with that culture, you're going to put yourself behind the 8 ball. Now, yes, you can learn it. Yes, you can master it. But one of the things that I learned is when you try to force yourself to learn something or dedicate to learning something that's completely and entirely new to you, that is actually time wasted when you could have provided a service that you already mastered to the people who are like you. Now, if you go against this idea, I promise you, eventually this will happen. You're gonna look at your calendar and you're gonna say, I don't wanna do this event, or oh, I gotta do another this type of event, or oh man, I remember this client, they're such a pain in the ass. Sure, there are exceptions. Some of them, when you feel that way, can completely surprise you, but more often than not, it is not the type of event you want to perform, and you walk away with it with a handful of money saying, I should have stayed home tonight. I've taken events where the only commonality between me and the clients was the agreement on the price for my services. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. I took an event last year where when I first met with a client, everything was screaming, this is not my client. They were from a different ethnical background. Now, I did have some familiarity with that background, but I was not a master of the music. I didn't really know the culture very well. Their personality was polar opposite of mine. They were very dry. They used sarcasm a lot, and it really made it difficult for me to determine like what was a real statement versus what was a sarcastic statement. They also didn't really share the excitement I had to perform their event. But my reputation preceded itself, and they wanted me to be the lightning rod to produce an outcome that they envisioned. When I left that Zoom meeting, I kept saying to myself, this is not my client. I don't want this. My mindset was like, okay, I'm gonna hit him up in the morning. I'm gonna shoot him a text, email. I was even gonna call the group and I was like, listen, man, I don't think I'm the right fit. I appreciate the call, but maybe on another event. Before I could do that, we got a wire for the entire balance. The entire package cost was sent to our financial office to reserve the date. I should have instructed the financial office to send the money back, and I would have called the groom and said, listen, dude, I appreciate it, but I'm not the right fit for you, but I let that go. I convinced myself I can make it work. I said, oh, I'll figure it out. You know, like they can't be that bad, but it was. It was a dud of an event. There was no energy. There was no fun. I could not figure out the crowd. And it was ultimately a mistake. And I think the reason why I went for it is because that event was about 30% more than the average package I sell, and I let the money determine my judgment. On the opposite side, I did an event in 2022. It was 6 weeks prior to the event date, and I got a call from a bride who was panicking because her original DJ had ghosted her. The problem was is she pretty much agreed to a package and reserved money for about 50% of what I normally cost for my services. But because it was only 6 weeks out and the likelihood another event was going to come in within 6 weeks for that date, I decided to at least take a Zoom meeting with them. How can it hurt? We sat down, I met with the groom and the bride, and immediately I could tell they were the right fit. All they kept saying was, we just want to dance, we want to drink, our friends love to rage, we all love to dance, like we just want to have a great party. I remember them even telling me that they already made a Spotify playlist originally for their DJ, and I was like, you know what? Hey, do me a favor right now, send me this Spotify playlist, text it to me. And I took a look at the Spotify playlist, and I literally said in my head, I would rock this party. Like everything was lining up. I was gonna crush this. Obviously, I had to negotiate the price a little bit, and we came to an agreement that they would spend an additional $500 from the original budget to compensate for some of the losses that I would have to take for performing their event. Believe it or not, they were extremely pleased, okay? And I think it's also because we already shared some kind of energy that we're like, okay, this is the right fit, so $500 is nothing. They left with a contract signed, smiling, and we started planning literally that following Tuesday. Their wedding became the best event of 2022 for me. As a matter of fact, you'll constantly see a lot of their wedding posted in my demo videos because they were the wedding that I keep reminding them, like, this is the type of wedding I want to do every single weekend. Their wedding also got me 6 inquiries. I booked 2 out of the 6 because the other dates I was either booked or they just weren't in the price range. But just for the mere fact that I had 6 people come from that wedding told me that these were my clients. I repeatedly say that I would do those type of events at a lower price 100 times more a year than I would doing 10 of the event that was a complete dud. So keep this in mind. When you are trying to find the people you want to perform for, don't reach for something you don't want to just because it's more money. It's generally a bad setup. Be with people that are like you. That's how you're gonna be able to build your brand. Lesson number 3, skills create demand and demand builds money. Okay, I'm part of a lot of DJ forums and Facebook groups, and the question I see all the time is, do I charge enough for this? How much does this cost? What should I charge a client for this? And every time, the comments are flooded with snarky, unhelpful statements and comments. So let me break this down for you. Understanding what to charge begins with understanding business 101. You have to know what it costs for you to provide the service. If you are just someone who's doing a 2-speaker setup and you're trying to charge for your time to perform, you may want to start with knowing what you could do on your own and what that value is to the client. So here's how I would do it, right? Let's just say you have a speaker system that costs a total of $2,000. I would at least factor a 10% cost into the service package for $200 and put that in my package. You're accounting for that equipment, but you're not adding it as an extra charge. Now, your time is valuable, so look at the cost of doing the production, performance, and strike down. If it's a 10-hour day and you want to make $25 an hour, you can charge $250 for setup costs in your package. If you believe you're a decent DJ with a good amount of music, you can charge $20 an hour for up to a 5-hour event, which is another $100. Now, this would give you a total price of $550. To many, myself included, that is way too low of a price. But guess what? If you're not in demand, it won't matter. See, a huge factor that people tend to ignore is something called opportunity loss. This revolves around the likelihood of you being able to take another event for the same price or more. You see, if you're just starting out, it is very unlikely that you're going to be able to account for this metric because how many people are going to try to book you on the exact same date? When I first started out, I was willing to DJ a 5-hour event for $250 in this tri-state area of New York. Now, granted, this was back in 2005 and 2006, but the sentiment still holds true today. I was more focused on being able to DJ for people than I was making money. Going back to the first original lesson, you have to be seen and heard in order for people to want your services. To this day, I still have clients who booked me when I was only $250, who are now paying me over $5,000 for my services. Why? Because they know that my demand is much higher than it was when they first booked me, and they want to guarantee me at their event. And the thing about skill is that volume creates skill. The more you do it, the more likely you are to get better at it. Skill set comes with practice. Practice comes from doing. Doing means that you have to do more events. And sometimes just DJing in your bedroom is not going to give you the experience that you need in order to charge higher numbers. Now, your skill sets are going to determine how much you're in demand. Like if you do a great job, your referrals are going to come in and you're going to get repeated work. But until you can actually build those skill sets by doing more, you can't charge more. I want you to think of your pricing as a reward. The more inquiries you get, the higher and greater the reward is going to be. Even if you were to undervalue yourself and book yourself at a lower rate, you're gonna make more because the volume of work is going to make up for the difference in price tag. In other words, your first 5 to 10 years of being a DJ, you should try to aim for 100 events to 150 events a year. Try to work every single weekend. As you get older and it's starting to be taxing on your body and you already know that your demand is high, lower the amount of events that you're doing and raise the price. Hey guys, real quick, I just want to interrupt this. If you guys are looking for record pools, I actually reviewed 10 record pools that you could join just to see which one might benefit you. If you haven't checked it out, you can check it out right up here. Just click that link up there. Trust me, you're gonna get a lot of value out of it. Lesson 4, multi-op and single ops are two entirely different businesses. See, when you're a DJ, you're always gonna start as a single operations business. This means that you are a business yourself, and you can only perform a certain amount of events a year. This is why lesson 3 is so important to understand. However, if you are really good at what you do, you will begin to notice that you are leaving money on the table by not having a team to provide a service. Now, this is going to open up an entirely different business model. Specifically, skill set and demand determine your pricing as a performer. But the key to multi-operational business revolves around systems. Now, to make real money as a DJ entertainer, you have to understand the concept of providing a service at a baseline price that could be sold over and over and over again to multiple different people. See, a multi-operational business can succeed a single operator if they can build a foundation that replicates their performance. This is where systems comes in place. When you're a multi-op business, it is designed to find work for other DJs, not primarily for the owner. The typical longevity of a multi-op business lasts longer than a single operation. This is because when a single operation retires, no more events can be done. If I'm able to train 5 other DJs to do at least 3/4 of what I do, I could sell that at a baseline price and then send them out to do multiple events. See, multi-ops have more liability and responsibility to their employees and clients. They have to worry about salaries, insurance, marketing, other business expenses, and other facets that typically create more headaches, but also can bring in more income. You need to have a demand, you need to know your cost of doing business, and you need to know who you're performing for. If you don't have these 3 things, you're not going to be able to run a multi-operational business to begin with. If you're going to try to go into multi-op business, you have to really understand the concept of building a business as well as being a phenomenal DJ. Lesson number 5, not everybody is your competition. In today's world of social media and online networking, it becomes abundantly clear that the competition for the creative is at an all-time high. And when you see other DJs doing well, getting likes, views, shares, plays, it's incredibly deflating when you compare yourself to them. Because the sad reality is they aren't thinking of you. So you shouldn't think of them. Just focus on yourself. And yes, you should do research and see what's currently trending and find out what is going to be working for your clientele. But that's the only thing you should be doing. Most successful people don't look at other successful people and try to figure out how they're doing it. They are taking the proper steps to reach their own success. They're taking action to find the things that work for them that's going to bring them success with their clients and their way. Competition is only relevant to those who are looking at you. If you provide value to someone, those are your clients. Sometimes you have a higher value to your clients because of information. Sometimes you have a higher value because of a skill set. Sometimes you have less of a value because you have neither, right? All of this is okay because it makes you realize it's not about competition, it's about reflection of your own self-worth. And the more you're able to do, the more valuable you are to people. The funny thing about competition is that they should actually be looked at as collaborative opportunities than they are competition. Now, what can you provide for somebody else to help them? What can you do to make them want to work with you? How can they help you, right? Can there be an even exchange? It's important that you understand that trying to beat someone isn't always forcing your way in, but rather nourishing relationships. If you're able to help other DJs succeed, they will also help you succeed. And there are DJs out there that literally put younger DJs in positions to win by simply introducing them to friends and colleagues of theirs. One of the best stories that I remember listening to is when DJ Vice spoke about how DJ AM got him into a nightclub that he wanted to DJ at. The biggest issue that Vice had was that he was being looked at as a radio DJ, which back in the day was actually a very different concept. And AM pretty much swore by him, told the club owner, let him open up for me, and AM never showed up. So Vice had to DJ the remainder of the night. Now, this isn't because Vice tried to force his way into the club, but rather wanted to work alongside DJ AM because he knew he could learn something from him. Unfortunately, my competitive nature has hindered me from being a humble individual. And sometimes it's hard for me to collaborate, especially when I feel like I am the one leading the charge. But I also have to remind myself that there's a time and place where I can learn and teach at the same time. So not everybody's your competition, but they can be your friends. They can be collaborative. Lesson number 6, relationships go beyond monetization. One of the things I really hate about the DJ business is the thought that you have to provide money in order to earn my services. Yes, money is a primary tool in order for us to survive, and is something that we have to account for when we are providing the services to the masses. However, there are also other opportunities that could take you beyond monetization. Some relationships aren't monetary, but can lead to huge opportunities for the future. And I'm gonna preface this by saying, again, I'm not telling you to do things for free all the time. No, don't do that. However, there are other opportunities where you could provide a lending hand. Delayed gratification comes from building the relationships that are not monetary. Even though you need money to come through, sometimes doing certain things at a low cost or no cost at all can build relationships that can lead you to huge opportunities in the future. I did a story where one time we had a bar. The bar was doing okay, but it wasn't crushing it. And I decided to tell them, hey, listen, I'll do this one night for free in exchange of being able to video it and promote my DJing. In exchange, my demand in my area became much higher and the bar wanted me back. Like, my social media blew up because I was posting it. People saw themselves in the videos. They started following me and the bar noticed that and they're like, yo, come back. Now, I was welcome back. The only difference was my demand for my services went up. Now I said, listen, I can come in, you gotta pay me an extra 200 bucks. So when I was out there, I was looking to make relationships with younger people that eventually would call me for like weddings, birthday parties, and other major celebrations. Building your fan base has to be looked at as a delayed outcome, okay? You have to have delayed gratification in order for you to see success. And sometimes that means putting in work for no money or little money. And that is why monetary relationships don't always work, but the ones that you make without being paid to do so can actually help you more than the ones that made you money. Sometimes it is the things that you do for free that can promote your social media accounts, hand out business cards, shake hands with important people, just make tons of friends. The more people you know, the more likely you're going to have work for the long run. You see, whenever you stop going out and doing things that benefit your long-term career, the shorter your career becomes. If you're a private event DJ and you DJ a bar, sometimes impressing a 21 to 23-year-old kid could end up having a wedding in about 5 to 10 years. could also bring you more relationships from that wedding that could get you more weddings and more weddings and more weddings. And this is how you're able to establish a long-term career, by just keep putting in the work and building relationships that are eventually going to turn into a monetary transaction. Lesson 7. If you love it, you'll do it for free. The last 20 years has gone by really quickly. The one thing I keep reminding myself is, if money was not a factor, I'd still be doing it. Because DJing became a way for me to express myself and build relationships that I normally wouldn't be able to do if I didn't do it. When I was growing up, I was a little bit of a weird kid, and expressing myself through music wasn't always easy. DJing gave me that platform to be myself in ways that I couldn't be myself. And the more important it is to you, the more you enjoy it, the more business will come. People gravitate towards those who put their all-in efforts, and they're the ones who are like, yo, I wish I was able to do this as much as John loves DJing. And although business is important, it's also important to understand that your business starts with your love and passion for this art. And if you truly love it, the business will come. If you love it, you'll practice every day. If you love it, you'll critique yourself and you'll be hard on yourself. And you're gonna say, you know what, I could do this for free because I just want to DJ. And a lot of dudes I know who got into DJing as a side hustle started making some money on the side, and they can't stop because they can't live without that side hustle money. These aren't dudes that loved it. They are guys who are like, oh, I see this as an opportunity to make a little side money. And these are the guys who are usually divorced, unhappy, have no work-life balance. And unfortunately, there are a lot more people like that than you think. You may know somebody like that. Or maybe you are that person watching this video. But I'll tell you this right now. If you truly love this art, if you have respect for it, the business will come. And I really hope you guys learned something from this video. I really want my experiences to benefit you guys for the long run. And if you're just starting out, understand that you can take a hobby or something that really, really, really makes you happy and turn it into a long-term career. And if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the page. I really do try to provide a lot of value to upcoming and experienced DJs. All you gotta do is click that subscribe button and hit that little bell notification.